Welcome to Joe Stunner Boxing. Now then, David Benavidez had some recent things to say about a certain Mr. Saul Alvarez and the camp, a camp run by a certain Senor Reynoso, which has a bit of a penchant for its fighters popping hot on the old piss tests. We're talking PEDs, of course, the latest one being Jaime Munguia in his rematch with France's Bruno Saras. He outpointed him. He got knocked flat in the first fight, and he failed a piss test. And of course, the B sample was the same as the A sample because it's the same sample, both positive. Okay, and of course, he's claiming contamination and all this bullshit. You know, yeah, all right, we've heard it all before, mate. From Dillian White to Conor Benn to everyone else. You know, throw anything that's feasible out there without any evidence, and some people are naive enough to swallow it. But Benavidez was interviewed recently, and he broached the subject, and he didn't sort of sugarcoat it. He was being a very, very honest gentleman, and he said, if Canelo was 100% confident in himself, I don't know why he wouldn't fight me. Especially since seeing that everybody in his team is on steroids, including him, he's never got off the steroids. You know, so he's thinking, well, if you're on steroids, surely you'll fight me then. You've got an unfair advantage. That's essentially what he's saying. And then he's asked, do you think he's on steroids? Of course he's on steroids, said Mr. Benavidez. How do 5 people at your camp test positive for steroids? All those fucking dudes in that camp are dirty. Dirty. Well, I don't think he's saying anything that a lot of us haven't said. I mean, I am someone, unless I see empirical evidence, I'm not going to say absolutely. You know, it's a fact. You know, one of the things I've noticed about a lot of people nowadays is they give an opinion and they say blah 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 facts. No, that's a fucking opinion. All right, you need evidence for facts. It needs to be proven. But put a gun to my head and say, do you think Canelo is on steroids? As you will know if you've seen a lot of my previous videos, yeah, I do. I think the way he shaped his body, crafted his body, went all the way up to super middle, completely dominated. The shape, I mean, just the way he looks, the stockiness, the musculature, and I am not someone who is a physiologist. I don't understand nutrition particularly well. I mean, I know bits and pieces because you pick up bits and pieces along the way, don't you? But what I'm saying is I'm not medically trained or anything like that. But it just looks very, very suspicious to me. And I've always been someone who says you shouldn't ever be cynical, because then you're doing yourself a disservice, apart from the other people who you're making claims about. But you should always be skeptical. Skepticism is not cynicism. One is you can be skeptical but still be completely objective about something. But at the same time, you can say you're reserving the right to say, nah, maybe I was wrong, or hey, I was right. Whereas cynicism is, that's obvious, isn't it? You know, they're all on it. All these boxers are on it. They're all, shut up, shut the fuck up. Stop thinking so lazily. All right. But like I say, Canelo, Eddy Reynoso's gym, for me personally, let's put it this way, I would be surprised if something untoward isn't going on. Very surprised. And I know I'm not saying anything that a lot of you haven't said for a long time. I've been saying it for a long time. But Canelo is just the latest in a long line of, revered fighters who have carved out a big legacy. Or I'm very suspicious of, Pacquiao, Juan Manuel Marquez, certainly, Holyfield, going back to Holyfield, even the best fighter that I've ever seen, Roy Jones, failed a piss test, failed a PD test. So did James Toney, another brilliant fighter. I mean, I stop short of saying they're all at it. Why? Because they're not all at it. Some are clean. But there's a lot who get away with it. And, well, Canelo, let's put it this way. Canelo hasn't gotten away with it because he failed a test. He didn't get any kind of punishment. WBC let him off. But I'm rather glad that Benavidez has come out and said this, because he is making a statement and he's sticking his head up above the parapet. And, of course, in America, which is where he's from, you know, you have the First Amendment. You can say what you like. You can sue people for slander, but, you know, so I suppose technically Canelo could sue him, but it's unlikely he'd win because, number one, that, like I say, they have the First Amendment, but number two, might open up a can of worms that Canelo and Reynoso don't want opened. So I'm glad to hear Benavidez say what a lot of people are thinking, and he's adamant, you know, they're all on it. And I think if you're a member of a gym and someone is doing something that they shouldn't be doing, you kind of hear the rumours, even if they're like friends of yours. You'll know about it. You'll hear things and you'll see things, and you'll think something's going on there. I think once it gets to the outside, into the outside world with numerous people failing tests, something should be done. This gym should be investigated. I said this in a previous video. Whether it will be or not, I don't know, probably not. Who's going to investigate? New York State Athletic Commission, New Jersey Commission. I mean, you know, it could WBC. Could it be one of the ruling bodies? Not the WBC. Certainly, they won't do a damn thing because Canelo's their pet. But it doesn't bear thinking about, does it? And he's got his fight, of course. Canelo's got his fight with Crawford coming up. Yeah. It would not surprise me if, I don't know about the Crawford fight, but if Canelo failed another test, it wouldn't remotely surprise me. There again, when you think that Crawford's moving up a couple of weights, maybe he could fail a test. You just don't know, do you? Sometimes the ones that get nicked are the ones that surprise you a little bit. It's not always the obvious ones, although there are obvious ones. Anyway, you let me know what you think. Do you support the statement by David Benavidez Jr., or maybe you're a Canelo fan and you say, well, he hasn't been nicked since the last time. He hasn't been caught since the last time, so therefore he must be innocent. You are innocent until proven guilty. I accept that fact, of course. But let me know what you think. Let me know what your stance is. Comments below. Thanks for watching the video. Please hit the like button, and also if you could subscribe to the channel, I'd appreciate that a great deal. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and bye for now.